Let's look at number one. Number one says simplify. Simplify means just do something and make it a little more simpler and clean it up a little bit based upon what you see. And in this case, we see a distribution that's taking place, so we're going to multiply. So let's start with our big numbers. Do 8 times 5, that's going to give me 40. And then go back to your exponent rules. X times x squared is x to the third. We're going to distribute again. 8 times positive 2 is 16. And then x times x is x squared. One more time. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. And since there's not an x to multiply to another x, we have to include it. So then we can look at our answer. And as soon as you got 40 right here, you can see that there's only one answer choice that has 40, x to the third. So our answer is A. Let's look at 2. 2, you might need to use the calculator when you're distributing. So if you can't multiply with your fractions, you simply want to do 2 times, create a fraction key in the calculator, 4 divided by 2, and that will give you a value of 4. Apply your exponent rules when you're multiplying. M to the first times m to the first is m to the second. And then let's distribute one more time. 2 times 2, positive 4, but you have to include the m. Now we need to look on the right side and distribute over here this guy. So we're going to do the same thing we did with our calculator. So let's do that here. 3 times 6 over 3. And if you can actually do this in your head, if you multiply the top, 3 times 6 is 18, divide by 3, you get positive 6, but you have to include the m. And then positive 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Let's combine like terms. You can see that I can put these two guys together. So we're left with 4m squared, that's this term. And when I combine what's highlighted in yellow, that will give me plus 10m. And then simply bring down the minus 9. And you can see our answer is C. Now again, if you're looking at this going, man, I don't think I can actually go through and distribute and combine like terms, don't forget about STO. Pick a random number for the letter M. I could pick 5. I like to use 5 for my numbers. Take 5 and store it to M. And then come over here and type in your original problem that I'm highlighting. And what's going to happen is it's going to give you a random number in the calculator. It's going to give you a random number, so to speak. It's not random, but we're just going to assume that it's, in this case for conversation, an output that you don't know. Then if you come down here to letter C and you type this in the calculator and hit enter, you will get a matching number. And when these two numbers match, that will automatically tell you where the answer is. And like for example, if I typed in A or B, I would not get matching numbers. And so that's another strategy you can use when you're talking about this keyword equivalent, right? When you see this word equivalent, or you're trying to match something up. So let's look at 3 here. If you get down to it, it says, what is the area? Area is length times width. So that means we need to multiply these two guys together. And we're going to take the first term times the second term and apply a multi-distribution. Now if you can't do a multi-distribution, what I have in blue already, you can go ahead and use STO and then go through A, B, C, and D and just find the one that matches up. But in this case I'm going to actually distribute here. So let's take this first term and distribute. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. Now we have to distribute one more time. We have to distribute the positive 4 times everything on the right. 4 times 4x is positive 16x. One more time. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Then we need to combine like terms. I can combine these two guys right here. X's can be combined with X's. And when I rewrite this problem, I will be left with, if I combine the middle, that's positive 8x. Bring down this guy is minus 8. And then the 16x squared in the front. And you can see our answer would be C. Let's look at 4. 4 has a rectangle with an area, and a length of 2x. So it looks like this. So this time they're giving you the area. I'm going to end up outside there. And they're giving you a length of 2x, and they want to know what is the width. Well, we know that length times width is area. So we need to work backwards. So I'm simply going to take the area here and divide it by the length. Let's fix that x. And so we're going to break this up into two parts. Let's look at this guy right here and divide that, or simplify it, so to speak. Start with your number. 20 divided by 2 is 10. X to the 7th divided by x to the 1st. When you're dividing with exponents, we subtract. That would be x to the 6th. So I can cross out A. I can cross out letter D. But now we need to do this one more time. Let's simplify this guy. Negative 14 divided by 2, that's negative 7. You can see I'm already going to get an answer of B. And then I forgot to put my 4 right there. X to the 4th divided by x to the 1st. If I subtract those two, I get x to the 3rd. So our answer is B. 5. We're going to answer 5 just like we answered question 4. We're going to break this up into 3 parts. So let's look at our first part. Let's simplify or divide this out. Start with your big numbers. Negative 36 divided by 6. Negative 6. X to the 5th divided by x to the 1st. We subtract the exponents. That's x to the 4th. And you can look at your multiple choice, excuse me, you can see right here that that's going to be our answer because there's only one answer that has negative 6x to the 4th. But let's keep going. Let's do this all the way through here. So let's simplify this guy. 18 divided by 6, that is positive 3. X to the 4th divided by x to the 1st, x to the 3rd. One more time. 30 divided by 6 is positive 5. X to the 3rd divided by x to the 1st, you subtract, you get x squared, and you can see that matches up to A. 6. We're going to do 6, just like we did number 5, except you'll notice that it's written differently. It's actually written out what I like to call long ways. So this divide means we're actually going to create a fraction bar. So I'm going to just take a fraction bar and divide all of that by 5x. Right? So now I can just scratch that off. I've rewritten it like a fraction, something you're very familiar with. And then let's go through and split this up into our parts and divide everything out. 50 divided by 5 is 10. X to the 3rd divided by x to the 1st is x squared. So there's only going to be one answer that's x squared, so you can see that our answer is going to be A. But let's keep going. Let's simplify this middle part. Negative 60 divided by 5 is negative 12. X squared divided by x to the 1st is just x when you subtract. And then we have one more right here. 10 divided by 5 is positive 2. X to the 1st divided by x to the 1st, that cancels out because 1 minus 1 is 0, and the x's go away, so you can see our answer is A. Alright, let's go to 7. Before you answer 7, you have to look at this little 2, and what I like to do is I like to say, let's stamp out what's in parentheses. So pretend like that's the first stamp, but the little 2 is saying you have to multiply what's in parentheses by itself twice. So notice we've stamped that out twice, and we can do something again that's very familiar. We're going to do a multi-distribution. So start with this first term, x. X times x is x squared. One more time. X times positive 5 is positive 5x. But you have to distribute again. Look at the positive 5. Let's distribute the positive 5 times everything on the right. 5 times x. Let's try that again. 5 times x is positive 5x. 5 times 5 is 25. Now we know that our answer is going to be C because it's the one that has 25 on the end. But if you were to combine like terms right here, positive 5x and positive 5x, that's positive 10x. Bring down what you have left. and you can see our answer is C. Number 8. Now, again, I'm going to go back to you and give you this test-taking strategy. If you can't do number 8, pick a random number for K, like 5. Take 5, store it to the letter K, type this in the calculator, it's going to give you a number. Type in each one of these and find the one that matches up to this number here. It'll automatically give you the answer. However, I'm going to show you how to do this on paper as well. But you can always use stow or store when we're trying to match up parts here. So here we go. Let's distribute. Let's do a multi-distribution. Right here, we'll start with K. K times K is K squared. K times -4 is -4K. We'll change color. Let's distribute the +2. +2 times K is +2K. +2 times -4 is -8. We are going to combine like terms in the middle. -4K plus 2K is -2K. Bring down what you have left. And let's match up our answer choice, and you can see our answer choice is D. So again, if I type this in after I stored a value to K, if I typed in the problem right here, and then I typed in letter D, after hitting enter both times, both those numbers on the calculator would match. That tells me the answer is D. Alright, number 9, we got finished talking about just a second ago that if you see a little 3 on the outside, you have to stamp out what's in parentheses. So let's do it like this. So we're going to stamp out those parentheses 3 times. We'll do that one more time. And now we're just going to apply our laws of exponents, because now we're just multiplying. Here we go. X to the third times x to the third times x to the third. You simply just add all the exponents. So you do 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus another 3 is 9. So that would be x to the 9. Y to the first, y to the first, y to the first. If I added all those up, it would be y to the third. And I would be left with A. Again, you could use stow here. Pick a number for x, like 6. Pick a number for y, like 12. Doesn't matter what the number is. If you type this in and you hit enter, the calculator is going to give you a number. If you type in answer choice A, x to the 9th divided by y to the 3rd, it will give you the same number. So that tells me that if you use stow, your answer would be A. Question 10. So question 10, you could use stow in this problem, but the problem is that you're going to get more than one answer. So you have to factor. So in this case, you have to try to figure out what is the biggest number that I can divide out from 2 and 6. And the biggest number that goes into 2 and also into 6 would be a 2. Then you have to look and see, can I pull away, factor means to divide, or subtract whenever you're working with exponents. If I have 2 x's here and 1 x here, how many x's could I pull from each one of those? Well, I could pull 1 x from each person, so I could factor that out. And you can see right here that that's factored out. And then you could automatically say, well, my answer is going to be C at that point. And then you could say, well, if I pulled an x, and I'll erase this, if I pulled a 2 away from this guy here, then there's not a 2 on the inside. Actually, this particular question is incorrect. So it should be like that. There should not be a 2 there. So I'm going to fix that there. And then let's see if the minus 3y is right. If I do pull a 2 away from -6, that would leave me with 3. But I should have an x in there. Nope, I pulled an x away, so it leaves me with a y. So to be honest with you, I messed up on the multiple choice here. It should be, I pulled a 2x out, and then you're left with x minus 3y. So I guess the easiest way to do that is once you find the biggest number and the most letters you can pull out, you found your answer. But you have to be careful because you want to make sure that whenever you do that, that whenever you go back and check it, that it comes back to the original problem. So my bad, kind of messed up on the multiple choice there. So this is your correct answer. Alright, let's look at 11. 11 is asking you which answer choice is part of the problem they give you. Well, we've been practicing something called products and sums, where we have something that looks like this, and they're asking you which answer choice could be one of these two parentheses. Well, the first thing we want to do is do our products and sums. Products means multiply, and sums means you're going to add or subtract, right? Really means to combine like terms. So give me two numbers I can multiply by that'll give me -6, but when I add or subtract them, it gives me -5. Well, I know that -6 times 1 is -6. Okay, that works. And then if I combine -6 and +1, does it give me a -5? Yes, it does. So I found my two numbers. So my two numbers are x minus 6 and x plus 1. So the question is asking you which answer choice is part of one of these parentheses. So do we have an x plus 6? No. Do we have an x minus 2? No. An x minus 3? No. But you look right here, we do have an x plus 1. So our answer is D. 12. Now, I will tell you that if you have a number in front of the x squared, it's very difficult for you to do the sums and products because the rules kind of change a little bit. So in this case, I would encourage you to either use STO, pick a number for x, or simply go through the problems here and just multiply it out. We're going to look at answer choice C. So I'm going to distribute a multi-distribution for answer choice C, and we're going to see if it gives me my problem up top. So let's multiply this guy first. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times +4 is +8x. We need to distribute one more time. 1 times x is 1x. Move this over a little bit. One more time. 1 times 4 is +4. You have to combine like terms and bring down what you have left. Let's see if that matches up to our problem. And it does. So I know my answer is C. So you can work backwards if you see a number that is bigger than 1 as a coefficient, or don't forget about STO. But you have to pick a number for x. 7, 9, something besides 0 and 1. 13. So same thing, the same thing that we just got finished doing for this question here for number 12, we are going to do for the same thing on 13, because you notice that we have a coefficient greater than 1. So let's go through. What I like to do is I like to look at the last number, -42. Well, if -42, I want to look at these two numbers here at the very end. Well, I know that 6 times -7 is -42, so this might be an answer. But I know that -3 times -7, and that's -21, that is not going to be an answer. And then if I look right here, -6, let's try that. -6 times -7, that's +42. That's not going to work. And then this one here, -6 times -7, that's +42. That one's not going to work. So I know my answer is A. But if you're not sure, we could actually multiply this out. And the reason why we're multiplying is because they're talking about the area. They're giving you the area here. They want to know what's the length and the width. So let's multiply these two guys right here. Let's start with the first one, 2x. Let's distribute that. 2x times x is 2x squared. One more time. 2x times -7 is -14x. But remember, we have to do a multi-distribution, so let's do this again. Let's go +6 times x, +6x. +6 times -7 is -42. And if I combine like terms right here, that is going to give me -8x. Bring down what you have left, and you will see that would be the area that we started with. And so that's just a little trick that I use. I kind of look at that last number right here, that -42, because I know my last step is going to be to multiply these two together, and that gives me my last number. 14, same thing that we've been doing. Let's do a multi-distribution. So let's multiply this guy here. We'll start with the 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times -9 is -27x. One more time. -5 times x is -5x. And then -5 times -9 is +45. And you already know our answer is going to be D, but we want to combine like terms. That gives me negative 32x. Bring down what you have left. And you can see my answer is D. 15. 15 is just like what we did here for number 14. We're simply going to go through. We could multiply A, B, C, and D, but since we don't have a number in front of x squared, well, we do. It's a 1. And since we have a 1 in front of x squared, we can do products and sums, and that's what I'm going to do. Give me two numbers that I can multiply by right here that'll give me negative 20. But when I combine them, it gives me positive 1. Well, I know that 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. And 5 minus 4 is 1. So these are my two numbers, x positive 5 and x minus 4. So let's match that up here. Positive 5 and minus 4. It doesn't matter what order you write the 5 and minus 4 in, and so you can see my answer is B. And again, if you can't do products and sums, you have two options. You could use STO, or you could come down here and do a multi-distribution and combine like terms, and it'll match to the question. And then the last one, simplify. So simplify means to make it simpler, reduce. In this case, we're going to divide. And let's use our rules. If I have 6 x's up top and 6 x's on bottom and they go away, I'm left with no x's, so you probably assume your answer is 0, but it is not. In fact, think about it like this. If you have the same number on top divided by the same number on bottom, that will equal 1. If you don't believe me, look. If I take 100 and divide it by 100, that's the same thing. It equals 1. In fact, STO. If you can't see that, pick a number for x, like 6. Take 6, stow it to x. And when you do that in the calculator, what's going to happen? This is what the calculator does. It's going to go 6 to the 6th power divided by 6 to the 6th power. It's going to give you this number here divided by the same number. And when you take the same number divided by the same number, if that a number divided by the same number, you get 1. Yeehaw.